Have you ever noticed how some families seem to have everything the world promises: beautiful homes, influence, security, and endless comfort, yet suddenly their inner world begins to fall apart? From the outside, they look successful and blessed, but behind closed doors there is confusion, emptiness, and a quiet loss of meaning. This raises a deep and uncomfortable question: how can lives surrounded by abundance feel so spiritually poor? Why do families who appear strong in wealth often become weak in wisdom? This is not a rare story, and it is not new. It has repeated itself across generations, cultures, and civilizations, quietly reminding us that outer success does not guarantee inner fulfillment. Many people assume that money will solve all problems, that once material needs are met, happiness and harmony will naturally follow. Yet time and again, we see the opposite. When life becomes too comfortable, the inner voice becomes easy to ignore. When everything is easily available, the hunger for truth slowly fades. The soul, which grows through awareness, discipline, and gratitude, begins to feel unseen. In such homes, laughter may exist, but silence feels heavy. Conversations happen, yet understanding is missing. There is activity everywhere, but peace is nowhere to be found. This spiritual collapse does not arrive suddenly like a storm. It comes quietly, like a slow fading of light. Values that once guided a family are replaced by status. Purpose is replaced by pleasure. Reverence is replaced by entitlement. Without realizing it, generations grow up knowing the price of everything but the value of life itself. And when challenges finally come, as they always do, there is no inner strength to face them. So the real question is not why rich families lose money or reputation, but why they lose their connection to the soul. What is missing in lives filled with abundance? And more importantly, how can one live with wealth without losing wisdom? Today, let us gently explore this truth, not to judge, but to awaken. When a family begins to measure its worth through wealth, something very delicate inside the human spirit starts to shift. At first, it feels harmless. Money brings comfort, respect, and a sense of security. Slowly, however, wealth stops being just a resource and begins to define identity. Children grow up hearing subtle messages, not always spoken aloud, that they are special because of what they own, not because of who they are. Their sense of self becomes tied to family name, status, and possessions. Without realizing it, the question, "Who am I?" is answered with, "What do we have?" This is where the spiritual imbalance begins. The soul does not recognize bank accounts, titles, or inherited privilege. It recognizes consciousness, character, and inner awareness. When identity is built on external success, it becomes unstable because anything external can change. Wealth can rise or fall, reputation can shift, and power can disappear. When this happens, those whose identity is rooted in money feel lost, anxious, and afraid. There is an inner emptiness because the foundation was never within. In such families, self-worth becomes conditional. Love feels tied to achievement. Respect feels dependent on performance. This creates quiet pressure and fear, even in comfort. The heart learns to protect status instead of cultivating sincerity. Over time, this fear weakens spiritual curiosity. There is little interest in inner growth because outer validation feels more urgent. True spiritual strength comes when a person knows, deeply and calmly, that they are more than what they own. Without this understanding, wealth becomes a fragile mirror, constantly needing confirmation. And when identity rests on wealth alone, the soul stands unsupported, vulnerable to collapse the moment the world changes. When life offers constant comfort, the soul often forgets how to grow strong. Inner strength is not built through ease alone, it is shaped through effort, patience, and self-discipline. In many wealthy families, daily life is designed to remove discomfort as quickly as possible. Problems are solved with money, time is filled with entertainment, and effort is often outsourced. While this may appear like success, it quietly removes the conditions that help the inner being mature. Discipline is the soil in which spiritual awareness grows. Simple routines, restraint, and mindful effort teach the mind to listen rather than react. But when comfort becomes excessive, there is little reason to practice self-control. Desires are fulfilled quickly, waiting feels unnecessary, and discomfort feels intolerable. Over time, the mind becomes restless and dependent, always seeking stimulation from the outside instead of peace from within. Without discipline, gratitude weakens. When everything is easily available, it is rarely valued. The soul learns to expect rather than appreciate. This expectation slowly dulls sensitivity to life's deeper gifts, silence, reflection, humility, and service. The heart becomes occupied, but not fulfilled. True spiritual development does not require hardship, but it does require conscious effort. When comfort replaces inner discipline, the soul becomes passive. There is little motivation to look inward, to question one's habits, or to cultivate awareness. And when challenges eventually arrive, as they always do, the inner structure is weak. Without discipline to anchor the mind and heart, even small difficulties feel overwhelming. In this way, comfort, when left unchecked, quietly erodes spiritual strength instead of supporting it. Spiritual understanding is rarely absorbed through instruction alone. It is learned through observation and lived experience. In every family, children unconsciously study the behavior, priorities, and attitudes of those they look up to. What elders value becomes the unspoken lesson of the home. In many wealthy families, success is measured by achievement, recognition, and outward polish. While these things are not wrong, they often take center stage, leaving little room for visible spiritual practice. When children do not see moments of silence, prayer, or reflection in daily life, spirituality feels distant and theoretical. They may hear words about values, but they do not witness those values being lived. Without examples of humility, patience, and reverence, the soul does not learn how to express itself in action. Spirituality becomes something spoken about, not something embodied. The absence of spiritual example creates a quiet gap. Children grow up skilled in navigating the external world but uncertain about their inner landscape. They learn how to succeed, but not how to center themselves. They know how to pursue goals, but not how to listen to their conscience. Over time, this creates inner confusion, even in capable and intelligent individuals. A spiritually alive household does not need grand rituals. It needs sincerity. When elders demonstrate calm in difficulty, gratitude in abundance, and kindness without expectation, they transmit wisdom without words. Without such living examples, wealth may educate the mind, but it leaves the heart untrained. And a heart without guidance often wanders, searching for meaning where it cannot be found. Wealth has a powerful ability to enlarge whatever already exists within a person. If there is clarity and humility, wealth can support noble action. But if there is insecurity or pride, wealth magnifies these qualities just as strongly. In many rich families, success arrives faster than inner wisdom can mature. As a result, ego quietly begins to take the lead, shaping decisions, relationships, and values. Ego thrives on comparison and superiority. It begins to believe that wealth is proof of personal greatness rather than circumstance or grace. This mindset slowly distances a person from others and, more importantly, from their own inner truth. When ego dominates, listening becomes difficult, self-reflection feels unnecessary, and mistakes are blamed outward rather than understood inward. Spiritual life depends on humility, the awareness that we are participants in a larger order, not the center of it. Ego resists this understanding. It seeks control instead of harmony, admiration instead of insight. Over time, this creates emotional isolation. Relationships become transactional, and love becomes conditional. Even within families, connection weakens as each individual protects their own image. Without humility, the heart closes. And when the heart closes, guidance is lost. Wealth may still remain, but wisdom fades. In such a state, even success feels unsatisfying because the soul senses imbalance. When ego expands faster than awareness, the inner compass breaks. And without that compass, a family may continue to move forward outwardly, yet drift further away from spiritual grounding with every step. Every human being carries a quiet need for meaning. Beyond comfort and pleasure, the soul longs to know why it exists and how its life contributes to something greater. In families surrounded by wealth, this question is often postponed or forgotten. Daily life becomes centered on maintaining lifestyle, expanding influence, or enjoying what is already available. While these pursuits may fill time, they do not nourish purpose. When survival is no longer a concern, the inner call for direction becomes even more important. Yet many wealthy environments do not encourage deep questioning. Instead of asking, "How can I serve?" or "What is my higher responsibility?" the focus shifts to personal enjoyment and outward success. Without a sense of purpose, life begins to feel repetitive, even dull, no matter how luxurious it appears. This absence of purpose creates a quiet restlessness. Achievements lose their satisfaction quickly. Pleasure needs constant renewal. Relationships feel incomplete because they lack a shared direction. The soul, which finds fulfillment in growth and contribution, feels confined. It begins to search for meaning in stimulation, distraction, or excess, none of which provide lasting fulfillment. True purpose connects the individual to something beyond the self. It aligns daily actions with inner values. When families forget to cultivate this connection, wealth becomes a comfortable cage. Everything is available, yet nothing feels deeply meaningful. Over time, this disconnection weakens spiritual vitality. Without purpose to guide decisions and values, abundance feels empty, and the inner life slowly loses its sense of direction and depth. At the heart of spiritual life lies a simple yet powerful truth: nothing we possess is truly self-created or permanently owned. Life, opportunity, intelligence, and even wealth flow from forces far greater than individual effort. When families remain aware of this, gratitude naturally shapes their actions and attitudes. But when prosperity continues for generations, this awareness can slowly fade. In many wealthy families, success becomes normalized. What once inspired gratitude begins to feel expected. The language of appreciation is quietly replaced by the language of entitlement. People begin to believe that they are in complete control, that their position is permanent, and that they need nothing beyond their own planning and power. This belief subtly separates them from the deeper rhythms of life. Gratitude keeps the heart open. It allows humility, generosity, and reverence to remain alive. Without it, the soul becomes self-enclosed. Decisions are guided by control rather than trust, and life is approached as something to dominate rather than cooperate with. In this state, spiritual sensitivity weakens. There is less openness to guidance, reflection, or inner correction. When gratitude disappears, grace does not vanish dramatically, it withdraws quietly. Life still functions, but it feels heavier and less supported. Challenges feel harsher, and joy feels limited. This is not punishment, but a natural response, inviting awareness to return. Remembering the true source of abundance restores balance. When families acknowledge that they are stewards rather than owners, wealth becomes a channel for growth instead of a cause of spiritual decline. As we come to the end of this reflection, let us pause for a quiet moment and look inward. The spiritual collapse of rich families is not a warning meant for others. It is a gentle reminder for all of us, regardless of how much or how little we have. Wealth, comfort, and success are not enemies of the soul, but they must walk hand in hand with awareness. When the outer life grows faster than the inner life, imbalance is inevitable. But when wisdom grows alongside abundance, life becomes harmonious, meaningful, and deeply fulfilling. True wealth is not measured by what we pass down materially, but by what we awaken spiritually. A family that inherits inner clarity, humility, gratitude, and purpose carries a treasure that time cannot erode. These qualities create stability not just in difficult moments, but in moments of comfort, when spiritual awareness is most easily forgotten. The real responsibility of abundance is not enjoyment alone, but conscious living. If this message stirred something within you, do not rush past it. Sit with it. Observe your own relationship with comfort, identity, and purpose. Ask yourself where your sense of worth truly comes from. Small moments of awareness, practiced daily, have the power to realign an entire life, and sometimes, an entire lineage. I would love to hear your thoughts. Please write a comment sharing what part of this message resonated most deeply with you, or if you have witnessed this pattern in your own life or society. Your reflections may help others who are quietly searching for the same answers. Also, let me know what topic you would like to explore next. What spiritual question is waiting in your heart to be understood? Your suggestions will guide future videos created for sincere seekers like you. Until we meet again on this inner journey, walk gently, live consciously, and remember the soul behind all success. Jai Gurudev.